So today we are honored. We are going to explore the life from the beginning to being an actor with Anne. And could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I am a full-time model, actress, and host. And this year has been, for everybody, quite torrential. It started off with
Sure.
me last year. I was on a big film in Los Angeles, and I had a catastrophic injury. So I broke my leg and my arm. So a cast on here and a cast on my leg. So I've been in rehabbing, not able to work this whole time. So in film and television in Los Angeles is pretty much, it's happening, but much less because of COVID. So I'm a full-time actress, model, host, but at the moment in rehabilitation.
Sorry to hear that, and always you will do the best, Anne. So let's go to your family. How was it growing up? What is your family dynamic?
You know, my family dynamic is quite strict. It is very based on discipline, good grades, good sports, dance, piano. Everything is very disciplined. And I actually also grew up in the religion of Russian Orthodox. So everything down to the structure of our family was very strict, and there was a lot expected of us. So although I had a lot of great playtime, it was expected to get A's and really get a college degree and follow the path.
Well, was it easy to live in this system?
In the system, it was, and I had a single parent. So I was raised only by my mother. So I realized how difficult it was to just have our small family. We had my grandparents and my dad always helped, but I had to not make my mom's life difficult. However, I rebelled, so it was difficult. I wanted to get outside of the norms.
Okay, of course, being an actor like helped you to get out of these norms.
Well, actually, I was never allowed to go into anything like that. I was never allowed to partake in, recitals. I was already an athlete and also a dancer. So when I would perform, that was not the greatest thing for my family because it was in the spotlight in potentially a negative way. So when I finished with primary school or high school, I went to college for pre-medicine and pre-pharmacy. So I was going to be a doctor. And I went 3.5 years in, and I'm like, this isn't really me. I knew that I needed to follow the structure and please my family, but in my heart of hearts, business was more interesting for me. And I also, in the back of my mind, always was a performer. So I'm like, I would like to go into acting later on in my life. And when I graduated from college, I became an NFL cheerleader while while having a corporate job. So I was already able to fulfill a little bit of entertainment with my business, with my a very good work ethic in business.
So, did you go to work? Did you have a job while in school, like primary school, high school?
I did. For our primary school, we consider kindergarten through 12th grade, which is senior, and then we go to college or university after that. So I started working when I was about 14 years old. I worked as a pharmacy technician in a pharmacy, loved it because I loved pharmaceuticals, and I also babysat. And when I went to college, I always worked like 3 jobs, 1, 2, 3. So a lot of studies. I also bartended. I worked at the economics doctorate of economics library and just several other jobs, work study jobs that I could always make money. So always working in college.
How about how about your school? Where did you go? What did you do?
Sure, I went to the University of Minnesota, and I am third generation to go there. So it was exciting. And my grandfather was a doctor. He had gotten his doctorate from that university. I started off going into, again, pre-medicine, pre-pharmacy. And at that time, pharmacy was the #1 in the nation at that school. And I did everything for the first 3 years as far as all the chemistries, all the calculus courses, the math. And with pharmacy, we were required to take business classes because if you were to own your own pharmacy, you'd have to, be good at business. So I found that I really gravitated towards the business classes much more than the organic chemistries and all of that, although that was still very interesting to me. So I ended up graduating from college with a business degree as opposed to pre-medicine or biology. And it was just so much better for me. And immediately I got a job with a huge food company called General Mills. It's a CPG company, which is consumer packaged goods. So you may be familiar with Cheerios or Betty Crocker. It was a big, big food company in the United States. So, and it was good money, really good money. When I came out of college and I got a brand new car and a huge salary, and I just thought, gosh, when I was able to do that, I still had in the back of my mind, Nour, that I wanted to go into performing. So while I was in corporate America, I had tried out for the NFL cheerleaders. And that's a huge, NFL, National Football League of America. So I was able to make it as a cheerleader. So while I was doing corporate America, I was at practice, I was doing the games. So we're talking 5 or 6 hours of training per day, plus going to work. So I would get up at 5 in the morning, work out for about an hour, work all day, work out again, and then go to practice and do the whole thing over again. So it was a long process, but that fed me as far as I love entertainment. This is what I want to do. And because I was making a large salary, I told myself that I needed to save. I'm like, don't squander your money as hard as it was, because you're making a lot of money at, age 20, 21. I decided to start saving. And when I saved up enough money, I actually resigned from my job and I moved to New York City on a modeling contract. So I cut everything and I left for New York City. And although I had some modeling jobs, I didn't have a job, I didn't have an apartment. And I'm like, okay, you have to perform. You have to get this done. I had done a bit of research, but I gave myself 2 days to figure it all out. And I never looked back. And I think that whole thing is to just jump. There's never a good time to do certain things. You plan, you plan, you plan. After a while, you plan so much that half the time you just have to execute. Throw yourself out there, throw yourself to the wind. And where I came from in the United States, here's the US, I was from the Midwest, and I went to New York City. And that's a big culture change. I mean, in the Midwest, we're very like, okay, prim and proper. And New York is like, New Yorkers, they're strong, they're powerful. And I had to kind of like retrain myself as far as getting tougher, a lot tougher. And in the meantime, going back to the cheerleading in corporate America, I have a very feminine voice. And I realized as I was moving up the ranks in corporate America, I had to deepen my voice, because it's like, oh, you talk like this, you're not taken seriously. So I encourage a lot of girls, especially who have a high-pitched voice, to drop it down a couple of octaves, because you're taken more seriously, you're stronger, and you're speaking from the core. So all of that training that I kind of taught myself in corporate America, I was able to do very, very well in New York City on my own, no help from anybody. I just figured it out, and I modeled, and I started taking acting classes, and the rest is history. I was working in New York City as a model and actor, and then I moved to Los Angeles on a movie contract.
So my question here, like, it has been a courageous decision, like, to leave everything behind, to leave an illustrious and well-paying job, and then jump into the nowhere.
Yes.
How difficult was it?
I wanted it so badly that everything that was difficult just became, okay, this is an extra step. Looking back at it now and looking at the steps that I have to take now, it seems like impossible. And it's like, okay, you believed in yourself then, you can do this. Right now, I'm facing such horrible challenges that it's a good reminder that when we have these hardships and we get through it and we succeed, we can do it again. but it was so difficult. I mean, sometimes it would be so low and you couldn't pay rent and you had to like figure out how to book more modeling jobs and things like that. And then the competition for modeling in New York City is so vast, and designers can be very nasty and people can betray it, and you have great friends and all of a sudden they turn on you and you're like, oh, well, I have nobody. But I was always able to find good friends and always sort of rely on that strong work ethic and discipline to get through. But yeah, the difficulties will make you want to quit. And you just have to go with your heart and figure things out and get out a piece of paper and make a list of like, okay, these are the challenges. What can I do around that? Like if I got really low on money, because as a model, you make your own money and you give it to your agent, but that's the rest is you're running your own business. Okay. So what if it gets really, really low? And like we had a blizzard in New York one winter and all jobs were canceled. You couldn't even get to them. Okay, I know I need to pay such and such a rent. It'll be better next month, but right now I've got to figure it out. So, what am I good at? Make a list of the things you're good at. Like, I'm a fitness trainer. I'm good with people. I can work with as a side coach, personal training or things like that. So, always able to just dig down deep and figure out, okay, what are my traits? What are the challenges? And what are the barriers? And how can I get around it? But I thank you for asking me, because right now it's so tough with the challenges I'm facing that I almost forget that I got through it before. But right now it's trying, it's 2020 on top of everything else. So
How much, or let's say, how many changes or how much experience did you gain out of your practice during practicing for being a cheerleader and your experience in New York?
in the last, what was the last part you said?
Yes, how much did this affect your character? How strong did you become?
Oh, sure. And that's a great question, because sometimes you almost become too strong. And I was able to just kind of pivot myself and things like that. And as far as the training goes, I was not trained in dance for the NFL cheerleading. I did everything on my own. I hired a trainer and I just got really good and I got a lot of memorization. But the girls that I went up against for the NFL for cheerleading, it was like 1,000 girls, 1,000. They were all phenomenal. 10 years, 20 years of dance experience. I had zero years of dance experience completely. I was a captain in my high school, but when you're in the NFL, that's absolutely nothing. So it gave me a lot of grit and strength. It was like, oh my God, this is so hard. And sometimes I would just like cry. And it's like, just, okay, pick yourself up and go get better at this. And I made the team out of the grace of God, from my own training, from my own grit, but it developed strength of character. But then you can be almost too hard on yourself. And if you're like, you're not the best, then you're like, oh, I need to get better. I need to get better. And it's good to surround yourself with people that are better than you, because it elevates you, versus I'm the tallest in the room or I'm the smartest in the room. I don't want to be the smartest in the room sometimes. I want to learn and grow from everybody else. But it's hard. And coming from a small town and going to New York and then Los Angeles, there's a lot of lessons that I had to learn, because I was very like smiley and friendly, and you can't be that way when you're in a very tough industry surrounded by people that want to bring you down. So it developed a strength of character inside of me that, again, thank you for asking, because I need to pull that person out again, because I get, when times get tough, you've got to rely on that experience. So it developed strength of character, it developed self-discipline, it developed a very thick skin, as we say, just like very impenetrable. And also it allows me to help others. I can see things coming a mile away and I can help people like, don't go this way. This is what's just a warning if it's merited. But I really like to help and mentor people because of the experiences that I have had and wish to continue to experience.
So my question here, how does your family like view your position now? How is your being an independent reflect with them?
Well, as far as an independent, since I was like 3 years old, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have kids. When I was like 3, when I would play with dolls or Barbies, I would never have them dating. I would always have them like going out and being fabulous. And I never wanted a baby or a doll. I had dolls, but I didn't like, I didn't play mom like they did. I just thought differently. I thought just in a different path. And my family always knew that. So, every once in a while, my grandmother, who she may rest in peace, would always be like, well, it would be nice to have a companion. Maybe. And it's like, I'll date, but I just don't, I like being by myself. I want to accomplish all my goals by myself. And maybe that's bad to shut that down, but my family's at this point very supportive. They're giving up on it. They're like, oh, we have a nice guy for you. I don't want him. I don't want him. Like, oh, no. That's not my type. In hindsight, I would probably, if I met someone in it, he got all the criteria right, and we helped each other, and it was a partnership, and I really loved him, and I was very attracted to him, but I just haven't found that yet. And if I don't ever, awesome. I love being on my own. I love doing it myself, but my family's kind of like, but it's a little easier.
Certainly. So my question here is about acting. What are your plans? What are your goals?
My goals are to continue as soon as the business picks up. And my injuries right now are holding me back. I can't work right now. And also I do stunt work too. So because I got injured because I was running and I did like this trick and I landed on cement. So my athletics, and I work out twice a day. And I love sports and being in shape. And that's fallen way back. So I want to go back into this business feeling very fresh, being better. I want to have written a book. I want to have had something to come back in as a producer, not just an actress, but a producer, meaning I'm not going to just get hired. I'm also going to control the show. I want to write my own. I want to be a big business. So in the meantime, while I had this injury, I started a podcast called SoCal Sweat, which is all about fitness, health, mental wellness. And I interview, just like you do, I interview people each week. And with that, I am able to just spread so much more awareness and gather such a bigger community. And my favorite people to interview have been athletes who have fallen and they ruin their careers. And how do they pivot? How do they get back up? Maybe they start a business, or maybe they get endorsed, where maybe they quit everything and get fat and call it a day and quit. And it's like the mind is so powerful. And I find myself dipping low, and it's like, no, you can do this. And I am inspired by the people that are interviewed. I'm inspired by this interview today. And I thank you so much, because I'm able to, again, remind myself of the past, of the journey that I've been on. And although I've had hardships, I've been able to come back. I just hope I can come back this time. So yeah, that's in my goals. That's continuing to succeed, produce, help motivate other people, bring other people in, and then give money, charitable, philanthropy, spreading the great message.
That's great. Okay, in your world, or in the world of acting and modeling, there is a lot of fantasy. Where is the line between reality and the fantasy in this world?
Basically everything. And the minute what you see on camera is nothing that goes on behind the scenes. And there are so many scary things out there, as far as male photographers who will rope you in and say, I have a contract for you, just come on over. Sometimes models will go to photographers' homes. I did that myself one time. It turned out to be a very good thing, but I'm just going to go there at age 20 by myself and not check in and do a photography shoot. And a lot of times these photographers, if it's not through an agency, or if you don't do your research, you could go straight into porn. They could take pictures of you. They can put you against a wall. And if you're not strong, that will happen. And everybody's a producer here. Everybody. Oh, I have a job for you. I have a job for you. I make you a star. I make you a star. Okay. Everybody. So you have to really think, and you have to, like, if it doesn't smell right, you got to go with your gut instinct. And sometimes, they'll have you meet at a hotel. Oh, no, not at all. That's not the case. There are certain rules that have to be done. You can be inside or outside Screen Actors Guild, where there are lots of different rules, and you can really do everything on your own. You just have to be so careful, because film and television and modeling specifically always generates people that are pretty, that are vulnerable, and a lot of mothers, oh, get my kid into the industry. And as a model, a lot of mothers have come to me and said, I want you to get my little girl into modeling. And I just say, I'm sorry, I'm the wrong person to do that. I assure you, if you seek a child agent, that's a better thing. I think they should make their own decision after 18 if they want to do it or not. Because a lot of parents and families will live through their children, whether they have a beautiful face or a talent. You have to bring everything to the table. And just because someone's good looking, it doesn't matter. You've got to have a good mind, and you've got to have a good heart and a good work ethic. Okay, modeling job, you have to show up at 6 a.m. Oh, some models will show up at like 7 a.m. No, because the photographer's getting paid, the makeup artists are getting paid, the studio's getting paid. If you show up late like that, and some people can be divas because of who they are, the money they have, or who they're connected to, but you have to be very professional. And the pretty face and the talents, it's probably about this much of it. It's all in who you know. It's all in your work ethic. But, in this day and age, it's kind of like you can create your own, and it's a free for all. But I find myself thinking and kind of coaching others, your face is beautiful, but you could get hit by a car. What do you have going for you on the inside? What isn't here? What isn't here? So it's a lot of the challenges, and it looks very sparkly and beautiful. But, even the shoot that I was on for my injury, it was sparkly and beautiful, but behind the scenes, I got very badly hurt because of equipment that's everywhere. There's 18,000 cameras, millions of microphone equipment. It's dangerous. There's a lot of dangerous things besides the physicality, the mental, all the predators surrounding you. So that's just one of many, many things, that all that glitters isn't gold. And if you have a dream, even for your students, if you have a dream, it's going to be hard. And a dream isn't worth it unless it's hard. Anybody, if you want to say, oh, I want to be this, and that's easy. And not to say that it's with its own challenges, but when you take the path that's a little bit different, it's going to go like this. But you have to realize, what is my goal? What's in my heart? And remind yourself, it's going to be hard. And when it gets that hard, you have to remind yourself why you're doing it. And if you hate it, and if you continue to hate it, then get out, because life is too short. So I guess that's my philosophy, is just going with your dream, and these hardships are going to be there, but you got to push through, use your resources.
What else would you like to say today, Anne?
Well, what else would I like to say?
Yeah.
I just want to thank you very, very much for having me on. And I want you to encourage your students to reach out to me. If anybody would have any questions on the business that I'm in, or how I can help, I would love to do that. I'm happy to do that, because I love mentoring, and it's just really been an honor. And whatever I can do, please, I want to spread it forward, and let's just keep succeeding. And I just want to thank you very much, and just keep doing your wonderful mentorships for your students and everybody else. And it makes the world a better place. So it's been a pleasure, and I really thank you.
That's been more than a pleasure, more than amazing talking to you, Anne, today. Thank you so much for that indeed.
Absolutely.